toasting, joking too. Sipping and roasting is what we do. Light 'em up, drink 'em down. Whiskey and cigars all around. Cheers, y'all.
That sounds like a party about to begin.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this fine radio program, podcast, and video extravaganza known internationally as the world-famous Smokin' and Toastin'. Boy, do we have a show for you today. First of all, it's show number 325, and as
That's
of
amazing enough by itself.
as of this writing, as they say in the journalistic world, no one has stepped in to stop us. So I have a feeling it's not going to happen.
I take a lack of any negativity to be encouragement.
Yes,
actually.
absolutely. Oh, it's not that there's no negativity. Don't let me get that part of it wrong. There's plenty of negativity, but no one has been able to stop us, and at this point, I don't think they will. We're heard live on broadcast radio all around the United States of America, and we are heard, of course, in podcasts wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and in video form on YouTube, and I think on Instagram and a couple of other spots as well. So
Yeah, we should be pretty much across the
we're
board.
pretty much everywhere. And today, we're going to do something we've never done before. We have done blind taste tests before, but today we'll be doing a blind taste test of Anejo Tequilas. And joining us for this special occasion, we could not do it without our resident Smokin' and Toastin' tequila expert, Liliana Rodriguez. Welcome to the show, Liliana.
Happy.
I'm going to say this, and Marc is a dear friend, but I'm going to say this anyway, and I hope it doesn't hurt his feelings. We get more feedback about the show being wonderful when you're on than any other time. It's just a thing.
That
it's
is
just
so
a thing.
nice to hear.
So I don't want to hurt your feelings. Marc Borel,
None taken.
our
You
wine
put anybody's
expert.
mom next to me, and I'm going to lose.
Marc Borel is our resident wine expert, but also happens to be a big fan of tequila. And in fact, you're involved in choosing a barrel right now for the Rainbow Lodge,
Yeah,
aren't you?
so I'm the beverage director at Rainbow Lodge, and we have several single barrels of bourbon and these kinds of things, and we've always wanted to do a tequila, and so we're working on that now.
That's so
coming
cool.
soon at the Rainbow Lodge.
That's so cool. I need to book a reservation right now. When will it be ready?
I'll let you know.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll come back and we'll taste it.
So what we're
That
going to do
sounds
today?
fantastic.
What we're going to do today is we have, I believe, it's 14. We have 14 different Anejo tequilas. So the first thing is, I hope everybody has a designated driver. Second thing is, we'll only be doing small sips, obviously, because we want to be able to. This is about the taste, and so there's no beer on the menu today. This is the first time we haven't had beers in like forever, unless, well, I take that back. Sometimes when Marc comes, we do wines instead of beers, but you know what I'm getting.
True.
At. You know what I'm getting at. So anyway, no beers on today's show. Although we are going to get started with the tequila in just a couple of segments, and what we will do is we'll taste 4 or 5 tequilas in each segment without knowing what they are. We'll make our little notes, and then we'll go around and one by one, we'll say you can talk about what you're tasting as you taste them, but then one by one you'll say you'll put them in order. This was my favorite, second favorite, third, and so on. And then once everybody has given their order, and it'll be A, B, C, D, then we'll reveal what tequila A was in that segment, and then B and C and D. And then you want to make notes on your pad here, because at the end, after we've done several of these segments and done 14 tequilas, we're going to ask everybody to give us their top 3 of the day. So that's the way that this will all work, and it'll be a great deal of fun. So I'm super excited about it. So,
My liver is ready to go.
Yes, absolutely. Want to say a big thank you, by the way, to Darnell Street with Emperor's Cut Cigars and all of the fine folks at the Cigar Exchange in Katy,
That
Texas.
was so fun.
That's where we did last week's show, and it was such a blast. And this show, I should mention, this is our Cinco de Mayo show. Now, since we've gone on to broadcast radio with the show, we actually record the show. We record all the shows in advance, and we're actually recording this well before Cinco de Mayo, because Cinco de Mayo actually won't happen until, as of the time we're recording, like next week, like the end of next week.
Right.
But if we don't air the show this Saturday, it won't give anybody any time to make tequila notes for Cinco de Mayo, which is the following week. So
Which will give you just enough time to run out and buy the right tequilas.
right, so we're getting in the Cinco de Mayo spirit nice and early, but this will be the last show that airs before Cinco de Mayo. So that's the way it goes. So anyway, a lot of planning went into this. I want to give Mary, who books the show, a huge thanks. She's going to be pouring the tequilas for us today and keeping track, and she also brought some food that we can have after the tequilas. So we
So we don't ruin our taste buds.
Yes, exactly. And also so we can like have something in our stomach before we go home.
Yes.
So that's kind of important. Otherwise, it's the Jack in the Box around the corner. And you
That's
know,
no bueno.
Well, except for those damn tacos, man.
That is, by the way, the busiest Jack in the Box ever.
Oh, yeah, it really
It's
is.
the only fast food for blocks.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bars and nightclubs and stuff around this area. So try going in line there at about 2:15 in the morning. Good luck. Good luck. All right, so our Anejo Tequila Blind Taste Test is coming. We are excited about our guests. We've got a few things to talk about this week, including we're not going to have time to talk about as many things this week, but we will make time for Drinking News. And Drinking News is that segment we do here on the show where we bring you stories that sometimes, but not always, involve drinking, but are always best enjoyed when you've been drinking. And by the time we get to it, we'll be like 13 tequilas in, so we will definitely have been drinking. Today's Drinking News teaser headline is I blame it on violent cartoons. And we'll look forward to that. Thank you, Ian. So I want to jump right into talking about cigars because most of the show is going to be about tequila.
I like cigars.
But I'm fairly confident that you've had something interesting to smoke this week.
I just got back from having something interesting to smoke this week. I stopped by Casa on my way here and picked up a La Gloria Cabano Corojo de Oro. As far as I know, this is pretty new. I didn't get a chance to look up.
I believe it is because I don't think they had a Corojo in their line.
Right,
before.
right. So this is I picked up the Toro. This is a 6x50 with a Dominican Republic Corojo wrapper. So Corojo de Oro is Spanish for Corojo of Oro.
Yes.
Of course. The binder is a Connecticut broadleaf.
I learned so much here.
Yes. It's an educational show.
I just used up all my Spanish right there, every bit of it. The filler is from Honduras and Nicaragua. The appearance on this rustic medium brown, kind of an uneven firmness overall, veiny, oily, leathery, with a single band. Now, all those things sound almost negative, except for this cigar looked great. It looked like exactly what you want. The pre-light sniff on this, I get some gentle tobacco notes, some orange zest, a little bit of raisin, some barnyard going on. The pre-light draw on this, I used a clip. Had a light draw to it. I got kind of fall leaves, tilled earth, iron, and mineral kind of notes coming through. It was really,
Fall leaves. I like that. Not just
you know
leaves,
when
but
you walk
fall
out
leaves.
and the leaves are on the ground, there's that
Got a little
smell.
bit of dampness to them.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The initial light on this blast of tangy leather and earth, woody and slightly sweet. Retrohale is sweet and cedar. The first third of this cigar, I got cedar and campfire, loads of smoke coming out of this. Flavors floating around the palate, kiss of cinnamon. There was some orange zest in there and some toast. The retrohale was sweet and woody, solid ash, perfect burn on this cigar. The second third of this, nutty notes appear and weave throughout with a bit of campfire and loads of cedar. All the other aforementioned notes are still in there with the cinnamon, orange zest, and toast. And just this kind of underlying sweetness that was a little creamy, a little nice, a little almost buttery kind of sweetness to it. Solid ash, perfect burn, the retrohale, cedar, and sweet. The last third of this, it really didn't change much from that point on. It kept doing the same thing, and it was really good. I really enjoyed this cigar. This is much from the second third on. It just didn't develop much. Solid ash, perfect burn. Now, this cigar cost me $10.80. Which I believe is the new premium. It's not going into super premium. This cigar is a solid 5 on there. I will buy more of these.
Oh, nice. It's hard to go wrong with that brand.
Yeah, I love what they do. I love the La Gloria Cabana anyway, but I love what they do on this. This is also in the medium to full range with a little bit of a spice back to it. I didn't talk a lot about spice, but there's a little bit of spice to it, just due to the fact that it's kind of a full cigar. But I enjoyed it. I highly recommend it.
Nice. I had a cigar this week that I picked up during my trip to New Orleans a month or so ago, and one that I had not seen before. It is the Family X Loyalty, or Family and Loyalty Cigar Company's Geri, Geri. It's a Grand Toro. By the way, what is up with people using numeric symbols instead of the word and or times? Am I supposed to say Family Times Loyalty or Family X Loyalty? Is it Dan plus Shay or is it Dan and Shay? I mean, just use an and sign, for God's sake. Stop trying to be so cute with everything, okay?
Or an ampersand.
Or use Y. Do it in Spanish. E. Yeah, right? That makes perfect sense. In any event, Family X Loyalty, and that's what I'm going to call it.
Just so you know, you just doubled my Spanish vocabulary.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you.
That's good to know. Family X Loyalty is a very small boutique cigar company, even smaller than some of the ones that you may be aware of if this one's new to you. The Geri came with a band around the foot and another large blue band that covered most of the cigar. The blue band was embossed with gold-colored writing that was so stylized that I actually couldn't quite make out what the name of the cigar was. It was very pretty, but I had trouble figuring it out. Luckily, it was on the price sticker that was on the cellophane wrapper, so I was able to tell that it's Geri, spelled Geri. Or maybe it's pronounced Yeri. I don't know. I'm, again, this came without a pronunciation guide, so I'm just going with whatever I can. The wrapper for Geri is Ecuadorian Habano with a Nicaraguan Criollo 98 binder, and the filler is a blend of Criollo 98, Corojo, Nicaraguan, and Pennsylvanian tobacco. Once I removed all those bands, I was looking at a nice-looking, reasonably smooth cigar wrapper with a slight reddish hue. The pre-light sniff gave me earth and cedar, and the cold draw added a floral note to that. I used my trusty punch and a blast from the lighter to get things started. There was a little bit of pepper, definitely not a blast. The Geri settled down very quickly, and I was able to detect more cedar and a note of cinnamon in the first third. It had a bit of creaminess to it as well, which continued through most of the cigar. Pepper continued in the background as I got into the second third. More cedar, a hint of baking spice, and a citrus note, a lot like what I picked up in the cold draw, were very noticeable. While some cigars pick up in intensity around the halfway point, the Geri actually kind of mellowed out a little about halfway in. It was still medium-bodied, but perhaps it was the creaminess maybe taking a larger role in the flavor profile. Still a nice tang on the tongue as the pepper never went away, but creamy with a faint coffee note as I smoked my way into the final third. In the end, it was that pepper note, though, that won out. It was actually more on the finish than in the initial flavors from the draw. But the pepper sensation on my tongue was actually one of my favorite things about smoking this particular cigar. The draw was very good. The burn was decent. It did struggle a little bit when it failed to burn through along one vein, as you can see in the pictures here if you're watching the video version of the show, but it wasn't anything that hampered the enjoyment of the cigar. I finally touched that spot up with a blast from the lighter. No harm, no foul. I should also mention that it was a very generous volume of smoke, which I rather liked, although it made it a little hard to type my notes because I would have the cigar in my mouth both hands, and I just couldn't see through the smoke. So anyway, I'm going to tell you, the folks at Family X Loyalty have the cigar coming in at about $12 for the Gran Toro. I did really enjoy it, but I struggled a little bit with the price to quality rating. Again, it was very good, but at $12 a stick, you got some pretty stiff competition. So ultimately, I'm going to recommend it. I'm going to give it a 5 in price to quality. It was really nice to try something out from a boutique company that I hadn't had before, even if the name is a little bit silly. But I'm basing that on the price of the single stick, so the enjoyment was there. So I'll take it. I'm not, in all honesty, going to spend $265 for a box of these, but at the single stick price, it was worth it. So a solid 5. I'm going to spend $265. It's going to be Padron or my father or AJ,
Right.
So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we set out the rules of the taste test, and we get started tasting tequila. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits and hand-rolled cigars. Today is really about fine spirits. I think she needs a little less headphones for Liliana. So we're going to be dealing mostly with fine spirits today. In particular, we're dealing with tequila, and in particular, we're dealing with Anejo Tequila, as we'll be doing a blind taste test. And we'll get to the structure of that.
Public announcement: no salt nor lime will be harmed during the filming of this episode.
And that's good to know. That's good to know, and very important, by the way, if you're having Anejo Tequila. I mean, I love limes as much as the next guy, but not with my tequila. Thank you very much. Ian, remind me. I'm in California, and I want to smoke a cigar. There's some guidelines that I have to follow.
Okay,
Is that
so
correct?
it's pretty easy. Actually, all you have to do is make sure that no matter where you are in California, you can't smoke inside anywhere.
Right.
And you can't smoke outside.
Okay,
either.
so you can smoke anywhere you want.
Anywhere
as
you
long
want.
As it's not.
As long as you follow those two guidelines.
Okay, got it. It was going to get even more serious than that, because a bill has been introduced in California. We talked about this on the show. A bill was introduced in California that would ban sales of all tobacco forever for anyone who was born. Let me find the right date. It's for anyone who was born after. Anybody basically who's not 21 today, or when the bill goes into effect. So anyone who was born after the date you would have to be born to already be 21. So in basically starting next year, when you turn 21, you couldn't buy tobacco.
If you turn 21 this year, you still could.
Right, as long as
That's
as long as it was
insidious.
before. Yeah, as long as it was before. And I'm trying to find it, and I apologize because I lost my place in this article, but it has the actual date of it. But anyway, it was California, a bill AB 935. Well, some good news. That bill is now stalled.
I just
That
want
bill
to point
is
out
not
for any
going to
of you,
become law.
any of you who are wondering what the term nanny state means.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. It was amended by the state's health committee to reshift its focus entirely to the recently introduced flavored tobacco ban. So the bill that would have banned premium cigars will not go into effect. But the guy that proposed it, Assemblymember Damon Connolly, just in case you want to write it down and get a little voodoo doll made in his image, he doesn't plan on stopping the fight. He says he's disappointed they'll not be continuing with the phased tobacco sales ban this year, but he plans to bring it up again next year and redouble their efforts to bring all stakeholders
Is it because
on board.
tobacco is the devil?
Apparently it is. Yeah, apparently it is. Apparently you can't trust people to, make decisions for themselves. You got to make those decisions for them. So anyway, the good news, although don't get too comfortable, he'll be back next year. But the good news is for California listeners, you guys can still buy tobacco.
Still buy cigars.
You can still buy cigars at least for a while. So, and if you're old enough, you could continue to buy them. But think about it, that's going to put cigar shops out of business in a few years.
But you can buy marijuana.
Yes, and you can buy handguns. So.
You can buy marijuana, but you can't buy cigars.
Correct. Yeah, think about that for a
Okay,
while.
and I'm not against do your marijuana thing if you want, but that's, wow, people.
Yeah. What's next? Anejo Tequila?
Yeah.
Let's hope not. We are going to have some Anejo Tequila here. And guys, let me just walk through how this is going to work, okay? In the next segment, we'll be given samples, each of us the same sample in each round of 4 different tequilas. So there'll be A, B, C, and D for round 1. And then you'll taste them. It's okay to talk amongst yourself. I want to point out, our tequila expert, Liliana, does this stuff like for real. We're just a goofy radio show. But when Liliana does
She's
this,
going to hate how we do this.
when Liliana does this, you don't get to talk amongst yourself. We'll do a little bit of that because we'll see. But
Because the silence of tasting doesn't translate to radio quite as well.
and as you guys know, if you've listened to any of our shows, Ian and I often have different opinions about things. So it's fun to be able to banter back and forth about that. But we'll talk about them a little, but make your own notes because at the end of that segment, I'm going to ask you to rank A, B, C, D, which ones of those you would say were number 1, 2, and 3, your favorites for that segment. Actually, we'll put them all in order. And then at the very end of that segment, we'll reveal what those were. At the very end of the show, we'll go back and take a look at what our favorites were across the whole day. So that's the way this will all work. And we're going to get started right when we get here for the next segment of Smokin' and Toastin'. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. But let the tequila tasting begin. And we're so excited about... nice. Very nice. Perfect background music for the tasting. So the way this works, guys, is we'll be tasting these blind. We don't have enough glassware to use for the entire show. But this first round will all be in appropriate tequila glassware that I think you brought from the lodge, didn't you?
I did,
Rainbow
yeah.
Lodge.
I stopped over there on the way in.
And these are actual tequila glasses?
At least according to Riedel, it is.
Yeah. Well, I've seen them in a number of different shapes, so I suppose that will actually work. Now, a lot of these other rounds will do in just in some small plastic cups. But Liliana, when you do the tastings, like the real tastings, not the goofy ones we do here, but when you do the real tastings, this is the kind of glassware that you would use,
especially
correct?
now that tequila has its own
glassware. Yeah, right, which is a pretty cool thing. Tequila is really becoming more and more respected in a way that whiskey has always been respected, and tequila maybe wasn't given that much attention for years, but man, it is surging right now.
Now, there are some groups that prefer a wider mouth.
Right,
so
the tequila glasses I have are a little wider mouth.
Like a snifter.
Yeah, so they can appreciate the aromas.
But being able to swirl this a little bit is a good thing, right?
Yeah, because we check the viscosity. Look at that.
Yeah,
And the higher the viscosity, the higher concentration of sugar and alcohol.
Right. Oh, that makes sense. Well, I'm getting a little sweetness on the nose of this one.
So I get a little bit of I get that sugary sweetness. I get a little bit of butter too.
Oh yes, I definitely pull that out. All right, well, I'm going to do my first little sip here. And since there's 14 of these, the sips will be small. But wow.
How would you describe this color? Amber?
I think almost more like straw, isn't
Straw.
it?
Yeah, like a pale straw.
Yeah. I got to say, I really like this one. Now, I'm going to say that about almost all Anejo Tequila. So, in fairness, that may not mean that much by the time this is done, but this one strikes me very well. Any thoughts, Mark?
Yeah, it reminds me of actually something I don't really care for, but I think that it drinks a lot hotter than I would have expected it to.
So it reminds you of something you don't care for.
It does. It reminds me of tequila that I don't particularly care for.
Particular
Yeah,
tequila.
yeah.
Okay, gotcha. All right, well, that is A. So you might want to jot something down so you remember once we've had these four, and you can do comparison, because I'm going to ask you to put these four in order of the one you liked most to the one you liked the least. So let's do Tequila B. Sorry, I was making a last-minute note. I will pass those around. This is Tequila B. It's funny watching these go by. It's like a little parade of loveliness. So this one shows up as about the same sort of straw color as the last one.
I think maybe a little lighter even.
Maybe even a little lighter. Yeah, and I don't get as much on the nose from this one as I got from the last one.
That's right.
Also, this is a little thinner in viscosity.
Yes.
It smells more like agave than.
I would agree. Although I'm still getting a little bit of butteriness there. So, all right, let's do a taste.
This has a little more of a classic tequila kind of
I would agree. Yeah,
nose to it.
but it also has a little bit. I'm getting almost a note of cinnamon in there.
I can't smell cinnamon.
No, I didn't get it on the nose. I got it on the tongue
On
after
the
I
tongue.
tasted. Yes, but
It's warming.
And the attack is not as strong
Correct.
as
as the one before. Absolutely. But I do like the finish. Again, almost it makes me think of cinnamon toast because it has a butteriness, and I'm still getting that cinnamon note. Maybe that's just my palate, but I actually kind of like that.
There's like a meringue kind of thing going on in the retro hail.
I kind of like that.
It's kind of fun.
I didn't taste any fruit.
I agree. That's not a there's not a real fruity note in there, and a lot of times there is in tequila. Okay, I'm making a quick note here, and let's go for Tequila C. Sorry. I've only had 2 of these, and I can't remember what number we're on.
Good morning.
Starting out strong.
Yeah. All right. So passing these around. Thanks, Mark, for bringing these glasses. And this is so classy. For those of you watching on video, just pretend we do them in these for the whole show.
I don't think I got enough for the two. Yeah.
Let's give her a little more. See, this is the first time I've had.
Can't cut the expert short.
Yeah, first time I've had Liliana feel like she's not getting enough tequila on this show.
Some catadors like at least 40 milliliters.
Yeah. What's that? This is C.
See.
Yep. So while we're refilling hers, again, any initial thoughts on the nose?
Peppery on the nose, like right off.
Oh
the
yeah,
bat.
and that's something the first 2 did not have, was a real stronger pepper note.
Pepper and earth is what I'm getting, kind of a mineral.
It's quite vegetal, I think.
Yes. It
Vegetals,
reminds
yeah.
me, on the nose, it reminds me of, and I don't think we have this one in the tasting, so I can go ahead and say this, but on the nose, it reminds me of Sauza's Anejo Tequila. Very peppery. We'll see if it actually
Got an
is peppery.
interesting tang to it, kind of.
And all of these are Anejo.
Like a
this
citrusy thing going on.
This is more pepper and more agave, I think, than I got before.
How about some smoke?
There is a little bit of smoke, yeah. It's not a mezcal. We made sure that these are all, and a mezcal would have a little more smoke than this, I think. But this, this is
It's
very
there.
interesting. It is there. You're right. Ian, thoughts?
So I get a citrusy tang out of it, kind of a citrus zest kind of thing, maybe a lemon or lime-ish. I don't think it's straight lime. It's kind of a lemony thing, if you ask me. But
What about you, Mark?
This is kind of hard to read. I think a lot of that greenness that I'm getting is kind of putting me off.
It is a little greener. You're absolutely right. More vegetal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go ahead and go to Tequila D. We're doing 4 in this round, so D will be the final tequila for this round. And see, now we're already to the little plastic cups, but just pretend.
they're very pretty plastic cups.
Yes, they are.
And they're mostly clear.
And you can still see the color. Now, this one is a little more amber than the first few.
I was going to say, yeah, it almost has an orange kind of thing to it. Oh, buttery right off the nose.
Been a lot of butter in this first round. Okay, very interesting. I'm gonna take a first sip here, and
According to some experts, we always in añejos, at the first impression with the nose, we should smell the agave. But,
agave.
But I don't think we have so far.
no, I agree. Now, I would say, and I'm not an expert, but I always find that I'm more likely for the first note to be agave if it's a reposado or even a blanco. But with the añejos, because they've been aged a little longer, sometimes you're getting, the vanillas or the butters or the,
And it will depend what kind of oak barrel they use, right? Because
Right.
most of them have been used before for wines and whiskeys. And
That's very true. In fact, I get that impression on this one, that it was definitely matured in a wine cask or a whiskey cask or something. Mark,
This one has-
do you agree with that?
I do. I think it has a savory component to it that would lead me to believe that it was aged in probably bourbon.
All right, guys.
This is the first one, I think, out of the 4 that has that real prominent wood.
Right,
kind of
absolutely.
taste,
And it's smoky in a different way than the one that you mentioned in number C was smoky. This is sort of a deep wood smokiness. But okay, guys, we've done our first round of tasting. What I need you to do now is put them in order of the one you like the best, being number 1, and then number 2 and 3 and 4. So take a moment to do that. Then we'll ask each of you for your thoughts, and then we'll do the reveal. So
All right, this is the time on the radio where it's not
Yeah.
as interesting.
All right,
So I'll just
yeah.
fill it up with random sounds.
yeah, okay, very good. If you could just play the
Happy to have
ukulele.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got mine in order. Have you got yours, Mark?
I think so. Yeah.
Liliana, are you ready?
yes, I am.
All right, you're the expert. Let's start with you. What was your? You want to start with number 4 or number 1? All
You're
right.
the boss.
So let's go to number one. What was your favorite?
My favorite one was B.
B. Okay, that was the one that was. What I was going to say, that was the one that was buttery. They were all buttery, kind of in this.
They all had a
in
little
this-
bit of butter going
in
on.
this round,
I
so-
think I like it because the attack wasn't too strong and it had a very nice aftertaste.
Very drinkable. What was your number two?
My number 2 was D,
D. Okay.
the one you just taste.
The one that had some aging to it in some kind of a barrel, and we'll find out in just a few moments. All right. What was 3 and
Number
4?
3 was C and number 4 was A.
Number 4 was A. Okay. Very good. Ian, let's go to you. How
So,
did you-
so I started off. Number 1 for me was D. I really like the wood flavors. I got a little bit of dark fruit towards the very end of the palate on that, and there's a sweetness right off the bat that you got on the nose that was really nice. A was my number 2. That was the first buttery one that we had. It had a little bit of light pepper, vanilla, and kind of straight ahead agave and pepper kind of notes to it as well.
Okay.
And then number 3 was B. That was the classic, what I call the classic tequila kind of nose to it. That was the first one where I noticed really the agave more up front than the rest of them. And it had kind of a meringue kind of retro hill that I really enjoyed. And then my least favorite was C, that it had a citrus
citrusy
tang,
one.
but
Yeah.
not in the best kind of way. I thought it was a little bit
right.
harsh as well on the heat.
Mark, how did you stack them up?
All right, so I am Liliana and I think are on the same page. My my
You're
first
not
choice.
just copying from her paper, are you?
No,
Okay.
no. My first choice was the second one.
Okay.
I thought it was
So that was B.
I got an agave flavor. It was easier to drink. It to me, like Ian said, it tasted like tequila. It was pretty classic. I'm gonna go number 4, the rather D for my second choice.
Okay.
Even though it didn't. It didn't have that classic tequila flavor. It was pleasant, and I enjoy it. That's probably a personal preference. 3 and 4 are kind of tossed between 1 and 2. I think I'd probably put the C last because I wasn't quite a fan of that vegetal kind of a greenness in that tequila. So there we go.
All right. So you went in
B.
order A. You went to A, B. Oh, I'm sorry. The number that you ordered them. Your first one was B.
Yes,
You went B, D, C, A. Is that right?
that's right.
All right. Mine were a little bit different. I went with B as my favorite. That was my number 1. My second favorite was A, the very first one that we tried. And then number 3 for me was D, the last one. And number 4 for me was the smokier citrus, the one that Ian really liked. See, so I told you, we always have different tastes when it comes to these things. So now...
Well, that was the one that I actually didn't like. That was the last one.
Oh,
Was number-
okay.
was it C?
No, yeah, C. That
That was
my-
the one that, yeah,
Okay,
that didn't make my top
so we
3.
did agree on that. All right, let's see what we were tasting. A, which was my second favorite, was a number of people's second favorite. A was Puro
Puro
Verde. Are you familiar with this one, Liliana?
Not at all.
Puro Verde. It is their estate bottled organic añejo, and that was the first tequila that we tasted. I picked it second. I think Mark picked it third, and so this one did reasonably
I
well.
picked that one second, yeah.
Okay. The next tequila, B, it was my number 1. It was my number 1 pick, but I think a number of people didn't like it as well.
Yeah.
It's E40. You got to tell me if I'm pronouncing that right, Liliana.
E40.
E40.
Cuarenta.
Cuarenta, okay. We actually had this on the show several weeks ago, and we were pretty crazy about it when
Yeah,
we had it
liked
on
it.
the show. It was actually my number 1. Mark,
And
you
my
picked
number
it.
1.
And so Liliana and I both picked it, and you
That was my number 1.
had that for
Yep.
number 1. And what about you, Ian?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay, that's the way that one went. The third tequila involved, or tequila number C, was Corzo.
Corso.
Corzo. This is the one that comes in the square box and has, by the way, the coolest pouring lid
That-
ever.
that tequila
it's like a
looks
little
so cool.
little trough that you pour out of. All right, so that was the number C, and then what was this? This was the one that was smokier, if you recall, and then the last one was El Mayor. this is, I can tell you right off the top of the show here, this is the least expensive of those tequilas.
What's the distillery that makes it?
It's 100% agave, and
in the back.
it's. If you can find that for me. I tell you what, though, we do need to take a break here, so we'll come back, talk a little bit about how these went, and then we'll be excited about. So, what does that tell you about?
Arandas.
From
It's
Arandas.
outside the tequila town,
So-
but they also have very good agaves
So
there.
when we come back, I want you to tell me about Arandas, and I also want you to tell me about what's going on with the bats in Mexico
Oh,
and how that's
sure.
impacting agave. We'll be right back at Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back to Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. Heard all over the United States of America on broadcast radio, and of course, wherever you get your favorite podcasts and video version available across all of the social medias that do video, YouTube and Facebook and all the others. So welcome to the show. Today is our Anejo Tequila blind taste test. Our guests are Marc Borel, who is our resident wine expert, but also dabbles in tequila.
Cheers.
And so you're actually the beverage director.
That's right.
So you really have to kind of keep yourself up to speed on all this stuff,
the
right?
thing is, people don't realize that what I have to make sure that we have good hot teas. I have to make sure we have good bottled waters. I have to make sure that the cocktails are great,
Right.
among everything else. You know?
Right. So it's not just wine, in other words.
That's right.
All right. So and tequila's just kind of a personal
I do
favorite
love
thing.
tequila.
Yeah,
I really,
yeah.
really do.
And they also carry the Casa Madero wines. And Casa Madero is the oldest winery in the American continent.
No kidding.
And it's located in Parras, Coahuila, Mexico.
Now-
1592 is when it was.
You mentioned that the last tequila that we tried in that last segment, which is the El Mayor. You mentioned that was actually from Arandas, which
yeah.
is how is that different from where a lot of other
Well,
tequilas made?
the best blue agaves grow in two zones. Around Tequila, Jalisco, and that's because they have the volcanic ashes from the Tequila volcano, and then Los Altos, which is,
Right.
is a little more elevated terrain, but they both very, very high quality. Now, this is obviously known. El Mayor is not from a well-known
Right.
tequila, casa tequilera,
Right.
like Cuervo or Sausa. Or,
Right.
But there's so many right now, it's hard to keep up.
But
Just in 2001, there were already 1,400 tequila brands.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And the latest list is off the air. I'm sure Mexico is updating that right now.
I bet. Well, I will tell you this much: that bottle of El Mayor, if I'm remembering correctly, it was about $26.
I picked
for
that as
an
my
añejo.
favorite of that round.
For an añejo tequila. That's amazing at that price, because we're definitely going to be tasting some today that are much more expensive
Right,
than $26 for the bottle.
The Centenario Añejo
Yes.
is 27.
Yeah, I know,
So-
and
and it's
really good.
excellent.
Yeah. And then there's some that are very expensive that are also like excellent that I would almost say are worth the money. But it's it's always interesting finding out how things kind of come down when it comes to price. Liliana, you mentioned that there's something going on right now with the bats
Yes.
in Mexico and what that has to do with tequila.
Okay. Well, the bats, the long-nosed Mexican bats, are the main pollinators. And for years and years, the plants were reproduced just by the pups that grow around it. But later, Mexico discovered that it's important to leave some plants to bloom and be pollinated because they were becoming like a clone, and they were very
And-
susceptible to
Sure.
plagues and things like
And
that.
disease,
So the Mexican bats are very, very good pollinators, but the road to Texas, because the pregnant females come to Texas to have their babies, and then they
And
go
they do
back.
that in Houston and Austin
Yes,
primarily, by the
and
way.
then they go back in the autumn. Their way here, they need agaves. And with this explosion, not only of tequilas, but also the mezcals and all that,
Right.
there's a decimation very severe of agaves for them.
Right.
So
So
bats,
that in turn is hurting the bat population.
yes.
Wow.
So bat Bat Conservation International partnered with another organization, and they formed the Agave Restoration Initiative. And during this and 2 more years, they plan to plant 85,000 agaves along the way.
How long does it take for an agave plant, once it's planted, to grow to the point of where it'll produce flower?
For about 12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I just want to point out, by the way, if you're someone who's, would like to do something for mankind, for the world, for the planet, and you haven't found your cause yet, I think I just may have found it for you. What's the name of that organization? What's the name of that organization?
Bat Conservation International.
And another one was the agave, something with agave.
Well,
in it?
that's the name of the
program.
Of the program. Agave Restoration Initiative.
That's me.
Oh, the
I'm all in.
Endangered Species Coalition. That's
I'm
the other
all
one.
in for the agave restoration.
Yes. Let's do it.
I'm all about that.
Let's do it.
Let's get about.
support
I've
them.
found my cause, Ian. This is exciting. That and saving homeless puppies. All right, we're going to take a break. We will be back for our next round of tequila tasting, blind tequila tasting of Anejo Tequilas. It's Smoking and Toasting. Thanks for hanging with us. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and hand-rolled cigars. This is show number 325, and it is our Anejo Tequila blind taste test. Our tequila expert is here, Miss Liliana Rodriguez, and our expert on wines and cocktails and basically anything that comes from behind a bar. Mr. Marc Borel is here with us as well. He really
just
is
woke up from behind one.
He really is our
Not again.
I have done that as well. Sometimes on one side, sometimes on the other. So we're back into the next round of tequila tasting. This is tequila A for this round. It's already been presented to us, and some of you guys have already taken a little sniff and maybe even a little sip. So you guys tell me something that you think about it while I take my sip.
I mean, right off the bat, I get very little nose on this.
Yeah, you're right. It's not as strong on the nose as some of the
very
others
smooth.
have been.
It's very it's very light. I'm
Wow. That
having
is
trouble
that
getting
is-
almost anything.
dangerously easy to drink.
I'm getting a little vanilla, but not as sweet, not a candy, not an unpleasant
Right.
vanilla. At all.
I like the vanilla.
Yeah.
Vanilla is actually one of my favorite notes when it comes to spirits, whether it's bourbon or whether it's tequila or even rum. I really like the vanilla. I actually like this a lot.
It's got kind of a sweet and creamy kind of mouthfeel.
It really is almost like marshmallowy in terms of its style.
And one important thing that we need to evaluate also is the aftertaste. It's
Yes.
is the bitterness or
There's no
sweetness
bitterness with this one at all.
or-
It's just got a little bit of the marshmallowy sweetness to it.
No, there's a little tang left on the tongue, though.
It's like a green pepper, like a
Kind of lets you know that you actually had a spirit,
Yeah.
right?
Just a little bit there, yeah.
I kind of dig it. So, all right. That was Tequila A. We'll find out what that is in just a little bit. Let's move along to Tequila B, and we'll pass these around. And again, these are all tequilas. Well, I think Ian brought in one from his bar. Liliana brought one from hers. Marc brought one. Outside of that, these are all tequilas that, and I assume you could with those as well. These are all tequilas you can buy just about any well-stocked store. In our area, it would be Specs or Total Wine, where you can go and get these. And in fact, I would say a great many of the ones that I brought from my bar were in fact purchased at Specs. So that's where they came from. So all right, this is Tequila B. Anybody have any thoughts on it yet?
This one is by far the most agave forward on the nose. That we've had
I would
yet.
agree. I would agree with that. Yes,
I think right
Marc-
off the bat.
Now, Marc, you actually made a little face when you took that. Was that
yeah.
a face of not?
I'm
being
not
pleased?
getting a lot. I think when I look for agave, when I look for an agave forward tequila, I want it. I want the agave to hit me in the face. I really want
Yeah.
to smell the agave, and I don't get a lot of it on this.
And there's also a bitterness
Yes.
on the taste.
Yes,
I'd say
don't think it's
this one is-
pleasant though.
Honestly, I got to be honest. This one is a little watery and a little mineral, if you ask me.
I agree with both of those, and yet I still like it because it's tequila. but yeah, I know.
I
what you
wouldn't
mean.
turn any of these down.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's a good point. Even our least favorite in all of these ones is going to still be a pretty good tequila.
Yeah,
have
I
to.
mean,
Great
I'm
with
sure
sparkling water.
people appreciate. Imagine the years that it takes to grow the plants. 12 years and sometimes longer, and then manual labor. There's no
Right,
machinery
right.
that
No,
can go in.
there is no
So
agave machine. Yes.
The jimadores have to go there and
yeah.
work the land, and then of
And
course
it's not easy work either.
no.
No, it really isn't. All right, let's go ahead and bring C on while we're still talking about this one. Liliana, what's your take on this one? Is this? It's not your favorite, I bet.
No.
Yeah, I have a feeling
I
nobody's.
still have that bitterness in my mouth.
I have a feeling nobody's going to have that one at number one for this segment, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. All right, that was B, which means we have 3 more in this segment. Here comes Tequila C for our second round.
How light this is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's.
This is light. This
Very
isn't even
pale.
straw colored. It's lighter than that. I started to say gasoline, but it doesn't smell like gasoline. It tastes like gasoline, but it's almost that same
This has
color.
kind of a. There's almost a little banana bread kind of.
Fruit, I taste.
You get a fruit, yeah.
I smell
Yes,
fruit.
this is the fruitiest one we've had so far, for sure.
So fruit right off the bat, like a tropical fruit, and then I get a little breadiness on the nose.
You know, you said banana bread, and that really does describe it pretty well.
Interesting.
Mark?
I kind of like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little off today, but I think I do get some agave on the nose. I do get the fruit. Absolutely. I think it has it's balanced. It has a really nice, I think a pleasant finish.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't linger. It's kind of one of the, it's a Goldilocks. You know what I mean? It's like a little bit of everything. It's probably not the best thing out there,
It
but
has a little bit of a dry finish to it as
Yeah.
well, doesn't it?
It does finish kind of dry. You're
Kind of
absolutely
woody,
right.
dry.
It also
but not a lot
seems
of
like-
wood on the flavor.
It also seems like it would be a very easy to drink. In other words, one where you could be a good ways in before you realize how much you've had, which can be kind of dangerous, but in a good
Well,
way.
I'm
you know?
imagining this one was
Yeah,
like
I will
flan.
not mix this kind of tequilas in a margarita for sure.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
We need to enjoy them like a good cognac.
Absolutely. And, I will use a reposado in a margarita.
I have,
In
yeah.
fact, my kind of go-to is the Alamo Reposado, which you can get in a nice big bottle. It's relatively inexpensive, but it's Reposado quality, and that's my go-to for margaritas. But
Try Centenario Reposado.
I do like Centenario. And you know what else is good that I like in margaritas is Espolón.
Espolón.
Espolón, I think, works really well. And their añejo, by the way, we don't have it in the taste test today, so I can talk about it. That is one of the best lower-priced añejos that I have tasted.
That's Espolón?
Speaking of Espolón, I don't know what's happening, but we haven't been able to find it lately. So I hope.
Really, very. Oh yeah, I hate when that happens. I hate when that happens. The only thing worse is when you can find it, but it's twice the price you used to pay. That's what happened to me with one of my favorites. All right, let's go ahead and go with Tequila D. And oh my goodness,
Wow,
this one's
look at
almost
that.
clear.
Oh, it looks like Blanco.
Looks
Is
like
this-
a
yeah, is this one,
Blanco or a Cristalino, perhaps.
I mean, there is.
Oh
Is there color in there?
There is some.
I mean, it's the
if you-
Very-
palest.
If you hold
Yeah.
it up to the white light, you'll see
Yeah.
just a little tinge of
the palest
yellow.
of
So,
pale.
wow, I'm getting lots of agave. It, you mentioned it looked like a
Yeah.
Blanco. It kind of smells like a Blanco too. And I haven't tasted it yet, but
but that also could be a product of the fact that they may be using barrels that haven't been charred as much
Right,
in
well-
whatever life form they were in.
absolutely, I will tell you this: it does not taste like a Blanco.
So, as pale as it is, I still smell like the agave, some pepper, and some vanilla right off the nose.
I was going to say the vanilla.
It's got more nose than that very first one we tried.
It's got
And
pepper
it's very
and it's got
smooth.
vanilla, and it's,
It's smooth.
very
It actually
smooth.
tastes like agave. This one does.
Yes, it does. It does.
Oh yeah, that is earthy too, earthy and sweet.
Can I just like them all? Is that okay? Are we allowed to just
That's
like every one of them?
fine. Yeah.
I'm in my happy place right now. This is just wonderful.
Yeah.
That's lovely.
And I also would like to warn people about all these new words that are coming in the market like organic and this and that and artisanal. Of course, the production of tequila is artisanal. So don't let yourselves be fooled by these phrases
It's just marketing
just to
phrases.
make it
Yeah, right.
more expensive.
And you
Right,
can use
right.
the word organic because it can mean a lot of things, but
Yeah.
basically it means
100%.
carbon-based.
Yeah, right. This is basically what it means.
You know? So, like, pretty much anything you're going to eat, unless it's metal. Mm-hmm. You know?
For years, I just thought that organic was a word that meant I paid a lot for this at Whole Foods.
It means add $3 per pound.
Yeah, add $3 per. It's absolutely right.
So
But
rough translation.
when you get to the purest form, the organic can be a good thing. It can mean they
Of
didn't
course,
use
it
the pesticides.
means, free of pesticides.
So,
And
all right, here comes Tequila E. This is the first round we've had an E tequila. So let's see how we do with this. I'm very excited about this whole show, by the way.
this is fun.
This is just awesome. All right.
This is not the worst job I've had.
No, it's
you just
not.
keep handing me tequila
Yeah,
after tequila. I don't even have to ask for it or order it or nothing.
All right. So this one,
I had to do a little water palate
I'm not
cleanser
getting
here.
much on the nose. Are you? Am I just?
Nothing.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not just me then.
Alcohol. I get alcohol.
Yes, you can kind of tell that it's a spirit.
with a
to be
slight
honest.
sweetness to it. But
Let's
that's
just
about it.
check,
Swirl
check
it a little bit,
swirl
okay.
it a little bit.
All right. Good.
We will be guided by you.
Sometimes when I see that people doing that with wine, I think that is so interesting.
See, I get-
they are so pretentious.
I get kind of a gentle fruit and sweet kind of note.
Yeah, I agree
Yeah,
with you.
sweet.
Fruit and sweet.
And I haven't tasted it yet. It's very little.
You're gonna get fruit and
Very
sweet
little.
on
Is
the
it,
palate.
It tastes just like it smells.
Tastes just like it smells.
Oh, yeah,
Mark, you've been kind of quiet on this one.
yeah. That is.
It lacks flavor.
There's
It's just
There's not a lot to it. There's
No.
just not a lot there.
See,
I find that to
It's
be
hard for me
almost
to-
candy-like flavor.
it's hard for me to. It's so hard for me to be critical of these tequilas because they're all so good, but yeah, for the purpose of, I agree, not as much flavor here. Not as much. Okay, this is going to take us a few minutes, so go ahead and put your tequilas in order. What was your favorite all the way down through the last one? So there's 5 of them. So, boy, this is a tough one for me.
Yeah, we're getting there. So I was kind
Sorry,
of marking my
I'm letting it-
favoriteest.
I'm letting it go quiet here. On
Yeah,
the show.
I was kind of a little startled by the silence
I'm
there.
not supposed to do that. You know, we're on the radio. People are like, oh, they're writing
From
down.
this
I was
Please?
kind of marking as I go along, like
Yeah.
the ones that I like the most. So
that's
I
a
got
good
a little
idea.
ahead.
I'm lost now. A little bit.
But
Yeah.
I just put a slash if I like it, 2 slashes if I really like it.
Yeah, that's kind of what I do.
That's
I put a
kinda what
little
I was-
arrow. If it's pointing straight up, I loved it. If it's pointing slightly up, it's like good, but maybe not number one. All right, so we got about 2 minutes left in this segment. Ian, are you done with yours?
I am.
Let's
I'm
see-
ready to go.
Let's see how you did them. What was your number one?
My number one was D.
D. Very good.
Right off the nose, I got the agave, pepper, vanilla. It was
Mm-hmm.
earthy and sweet, kind of agave flavor going on. It was really, really nice overall. Great finish on it, I thought, as well.
Okay.
Number 2 was C. That was the banana one, or fruity one, as we all enjoyed. That one was pretty fun. Number 3 was A. That had very little nose, but it was sweet and creamy. It had that gentle, peppery kind of flavor to it as well. Number 4 was B. That was the watery one. Watery and mineral was. I didn't think it was a bad flavor. It was just not as fun as the other ones. And then the last one I think was E, the fruit one. But it tastes to me a little bit like candy, like not in a great candy kind of way, but a little bit like candy.
Okay. Liliana, what did you have as your number one?
Well, Ian, you and I used to agree in the past, and somehow this time we're
Not so much today, right?
Okay, so I gave number 1 to C. I did love that fruity flavor. Number 2 is D. Although it looked more like a blanco tequila, but it was very smooth and nice. Number 3 was B. Even though it had a little bit of bitterness, And then number 4 was 8, and number 5 was E. I think to me, 5, it just didn't do anything to me. It like flavor completely.
All right. So we got to take a break. When we come back, Mark and I will reveal our list, and then we'll do the reveal of what tequila was what for that segment. So don't go anywhere. The mystery will be solved. Stand by. It's Smoking and Toasting. Welcome back. It is Smoking and Toasting. Our program is all about craft beer, fine spirits, and
wanna waste
hand-rolled
it?
cigars.
I want it.
All right.
No, I was going to drink that.
They're fighting
okay.
over the remaining tequila. Guys, there's plenty of tequila. Trust me. We have as much as you will ever
I just haven't gotten to
need.
it.
It's our Anejo Tequila blind taste test. Now, of the 3 basic tequila age statements, Blanco is generally the least aged. Reposado is a little more. Añejo is a
At
little more.
least a year.
It is
There's
at least a
more,
year.
2 more categories now.
There's Añejo Extra.
Extra
And then
añejo,
what comes after that?
ultra.
Ultra. So
añejo.
is that a real
5
thing?
years. Yeah,
Ultra
5
is a
years.
real thing.
Yeah.
And those are the bottles where we're going to be paying like $900 or more,
I
right?
don't know.
Very
But I
interesting.
was shocked to see the Elon Musk tequila worth $2,200.
Look, the
Whoa.
guy overpaid for Twitter. He's got to do something. So if he can sell you a $25 bottle of tequila for $2,000, he's going to do it. I'm just
Yeah.
saying. If he wants to send us a bottle, we will sample it on the show and we'll be as fair as we possibly can.
I just don't want these big celebrities that
Right,
are out
right.
there now promoting tequila and selling tequila to take advantage of the little campesinos,
I
working
totally
in
agree.
Mexico.
There are some celebrities that are really attached to very strong, very good products, and they may help it being sold. But taking advantage, that's a whole other thing.
And
All
wait
right.
to see the newest tequila and biodegradable container is made
Oh.
of paper, recyclable.
Well, that's
and-
going to become a bigger
Wait
and
and
bigger
see.
thing. Yeah, bigger and bigger thing. All right, we did our last one. Mark, tell me which ones you liked in order of what was your number 1?
My number 1 was C, and I battled myself between C and D for that number
okay.
1. But I liked it. I liked the fact that it was lighter, I actually got to taste the agave. It was dry. It had a dry finish. It was a bit. It just felt well balanced to me. Number 2, I went to D. For similar reasons, even though that it's very, very light, it maybe even a lighter repo than an añejo, but I really enjoyed the finish on that one, the way that it came out. And then the rest are kind of done. I did A for the 3rd one, E for the 4th, and then B for the 5th.
So both of you did the C number 1 and
1.
D number 2. That's reverse from my number 1 and
Yeah.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Almost, Ian.
I got to go through. I got to go
close.
through this quickly.
We were there, dude.
My number 1 was actually A. A was my favorite of that group. My number 2 was D, which got 1 or 2 from everybody on the panel. Number 3 for me was C. Number 4 was E, and number 5 was B. But I liked every tequila very much in that whole segment. Let's do we have enough time to do a reveal? Let's do it real quick. What was tequila A? And this was my favorite of the batch. And
That's
look,
the prettiest
I
bottle
remember
ever.
that.
it's one of the
Yeah.
ones with the gimmickiest bottle, although I do have to admit,
It's
I kind of
beautiful.
love it. I kind of love it.
2. Oh, okay. A.
Yeah, right. This was the first one that we did in this
Torero.
segment, so that's
Okay.
that's A. B was Tequila Añejo from Luna Azul. And by the way, I really like their Blanco too. It's very, very good. Number C was Excelia Añejo.
I know someone who's going to be very happy about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
importer is a friend of mine.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that one got either 1s or 2s from everybody on the. I gave it a 3 actually, but 1, 2s, or 3s.
Siete Leguas.
Siete Leguas was
That's
this.
an oldie.
This
That's
was
an
this was
oldie, but
tequila
good.
D,
Yeah.
and believe it or not, and I should have been. This actually wasn't even really fair. This is a reposado. it somehow got snuck into the Añejo
Oh.
box. So a Reposado did pretty well up against some
it's an
Añejo
old
tequilas.
brand. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, it
Highly
really did.
It's
Until
established
today's
even
And we
before
have
I was born. Established in 1952.
And E, as we're running out of time on this segment, E is something we're going to have to tell you in the next segment. It's
Okay.
Smoking and Toasting, and we'll be. Do we still have a minute? Okay, good. Because E is the mystery tequila from Ian, which is Ian.
Which is the Padron Añejo.
Padron Añejo. That was E. And interestingly enough,
E.
it got 4th or 5th from everybody. Kind of interesting.
I put it a 5.
Yeah, very interesting. All right. We are out of time for this segment, but we will be back. More tasting and more drinking news coming up. Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting. Our show is number 325. And after 2 rounds of Anejo Tequila blind taste test, I think I'm in a sufficiently happy place to do drinking news.
Much like McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news. A Florida man with one arm said he had a gator for a pet. When asked about his absent arm, he said,
I had to take my gator to the vet.
drinking news, drinking news. Now it's time for drinking news.
Cheers, y'all. Well, like many of you guys, I grew up watching cartoons.
Wait. Unlike me, I didn't grow up. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, I'm just talking about my childhood years. I spent a lot of time watching cartoons. I think most people.
It's Saturday morning.
Most people our age
Come
did,
on.
right? It's much different today with endless streaming choices and so much stuff up on YouTube. When I was a kid, you waited for Saturday morning, right? It was like a thing, and then you could see all of your animated favorites. You made it through the week to the next Saturday by watching the occasional cartoon in the afternoons after school.
Yeah.
Usually hosted by some
Scooby-Doo.
very wrong-looking old guy in a sailor's outfit or dressed like a clown or something even more frightening who went by the name of like Chubby the Clown or Captain Gus or Dr. Feelies. But one thing was certain about most of your favorite cartoons, if you're like me, there was lots of animated violence. I don't know how many times the coyote in the Roadrunner cartoons has been smashed or crushed or reduced to cinders by a bomb or a grenade that had Acme written across
Or
the
handed
side.
a book that says Law of Gravity.
Exactly. It was very creative the way they would go through all of that. And the whole premise of Tom and Jerry was the mouse always committing violence against the cat, right? Cat's trying to chase the mouse. Mouse blows the cat up or, catches him in a deadly trap or irons him flat with a flat iron. And Tweety Bird, more violent than an episode of Cops or any Tarantino movie. I'm just telling you. Tweety Bird, yeah, he had it going on. But my favorite part was always where the unlucky one, whether it was Sylvester the cat or Elmer Fudd, wound up falling into the water because their weight cracked the ice or they fell through a floor or something like that. To me, those were always the funniest somehow. And today's drinking news story is kind of similar to that, including the stupidity of a man who puts Yosemite Sam and Foghorn Leghorn to shame. And yes, he is a Florida man. And police showed up at his home in Cape Coral last week with an arrest warrant. When detectives arrived at 28-year-old Dylan Alexander Floor's residence,
He's got 3 names. Is that a serial
Dylan
killer?
Alexander Floor, yeah. They knocked on the front door, windows, and back doors. Nobody answered. The investigators spoke to Floor's sister, who stated that Floor was not home and that she had not seen him in days. While officers continued to question her, finally uncovering the sister actually had seen Floor and saw him enter the attic around the time detectives knocked on the door the first time. Law enforcement entered the garage and tried to speak to Floor through an open hatch in the attic, those pull-down ladder things, right?
You gotta have your access hatch.
Informing him that they have an active warrant for his arrest. An hour and a half passed with no response from him up in the attic. But they apparently could hear him making a lot of noise, kind of rummaging around up there. So they knew he was there.
If you're trying to hide, why are you rummaging around?
Yeah, exactly. A canine unit responded to the scene, and once that happened, officers were able to pinpoint his location and discover him in a corner of the attic, but the Florida man still refused to comply, still refused to come out. Officers were then able to somehow hit Floor with a blast of pepper spray. There's one Bugs Bunny never used in Elmer Fudd. And he still did not come out willingly. He did wind up coming out, though, and in the most Wile E. Coyote way ever.
Through the floor.
Without warning, floor came crashing down through the bedroom ceiling just where the ceiling fan was mounted and smashed into a heap on the bedroom floor. That's almost funnier in real life than real life violence sort of way than in cartoon violence. He was placed in handcuffs and taken outside to be searched and decontaminated. Yes, decontaminated.
Decontaminated?
One can only imagine. In Floor's right front pocket, detectives found a clear glass tube, which is known to be for smoking narcotics. Oops.
Read here.
Floor was taken to Cape Coral Hospital and then booked into Lee County Jail. Our lessons for today. Hiding in the attic, not all that effective.
No.
Wile E. Coyote,
Especially when you're rummaging around.
Wile E. Coyote hid in garbage cans and behind cactus and behind a big rock, and none of those worked out all that well either, but at least he didn't have to fall through the ceiling of his own accord. Lesson 2, of course, is if you are walking around in the attic, maybe stepping on the thin sheetrock next to where the ceiling fan for the room down below is anchored, let's just say not the soundest of strategies. And finally, a lesson just for the crackheads. Always hide your pipe. I would think that one sort of explains itself.
He could have dished the pipe anywhere.
In the fiberglass of the attic, no one would have
But
known.
that's a loyalty, man. That's
Yeah.
I'm
No
hanging
one
on
would
to
have
this.
Reporting live from Cape Coral, where some black and white cat is up in the attic with an anvil to drop down the ceiling on Tweety Bird. What could possibly go wrong? My name is Cruz. Let's drink tequila because that's your
Drinking news, drinking news. That's our time for drinking news.
cheers, y'all. All right, we're going to get right to the tequila. This is round 3, and this is tequila A. There will be 4 tequilas in this round. This is A. You guys may have had a chance to already do a little research, as they say. So what do you got, Ian?
I get, like, right off the nose, I get a little agave, citrus, and mineral kind of thing going on.
Yes, but all very pleasant.
Very sweet.
Not a
Very-
negative minerality at all.
There's a sweetness in it.
Mm-hmm. Oh my!
Yeah, it's got an interesting sweetness to it. It's got it's not really sugary. It's almost like aspartame kind of sweetness. If
It
that
has
makes any sense.
Like a cognac-y finish to me. It's very brandied, very cognac-y.
I agree with you.
And all these añejo agaves have to be 100% agave. They're not
Right.
supposed to have any
Right.
sugars
Right,
added,
right.
like
Now,
in the mixtos.
But they can be finished in like a port wine barrel or something like that.
Yeah, and
which
then
could give you
different
or a sherry
influences,
barrel
yes.
that could give you some of this kind of flavor. Very interesting. Okay, let's go with tequila B, and here we go, passing this one around. And again, 4 tequilas in this one, and yes, I definitely caught that. What your port wine, some kind of a flavor there. But
Oh, this one has a beautiful nose to it. Almost like you mentioned cognac a minute ago. This has more of like almost
Yeah,
a
I'm with you,
cognac-y
yeah.
kind of.
Orange. I
I go-
smell orange.
well, this one has definitely been matured in some kind of a cask.
This has got.
Because this agave itself just doesn't have that kind
Very
of a
nice color.
flavor to it. Yes.
Did you see the color? Very nice.
Yeah, it's got this. Like I'm still on the nose. It smells so good. It says like a fruity kind of like a general fruit. Orange is a good start, but it's like that kind of citrus fruit basket kind of thing.
Okay. All right, let's go to C. Tequila number C.
Oh, wow.
By the way, I would just one thing I will say about B that we just finished. I tasted no agave flavor at all.
No,
None.
but it tastes very good.
Like dessert.
Yeah.
That was super sweet. Yeah,
Super.
yeah.
All right. This is tequila C.
I gotta go with my get a sip of water because that was so
yeah,
different.
You're
Yeah.
right. That's not a bad idea at all because that was.
Oh, this one.
All right, tequila
This
C.
one. Oh,
What you got, Ian?
you can almost smell the barrel right off the top of this one. It smells so good. It's got a woody kind of nose to it. Woody
You can
and-
smell the agave too.
Yeah,
You smell
woody
the
agave.
but there is
and-
definitely a woody note here.
Yeah, so right off the first right off the bat. That's. Remember our first round that was so buttery.
Yes.
This is buttery and sweet. Maybe a little cinnamon kind of thing going on.
Excuse me. All right, let's do tequila number D. Sorry about that.
Number D.
Oh goodness.
And the letter 2. I'm just having a little fun with what you're saying over there.
I got you. I got you. I need to go back and watch Sesame Street again, I'm
Right.
afraid. So, okay. What do we
Were you
got
a
here?
Sesame Street or an electric company person?
Ooh, both.
I kind of like both. Too.
Both. I needed Rita Moreno in the morning.
Did anybody taste? I'm sorry. Did anybody taste any bitterness after
On
taste?
C or D?
On C.
There's right now in the back of my palate. There's
Now
kind of a almost a pine kind of bitter.
I know what you're saying,
No.
but all right,
yes.
let's go
This
on to D.
one-
This one has
This
a
one
very
has a-
pleasant.
Almost like a powdered sugar.
Cotton candied.
Or cotton candy. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. That's. I think you're better at this than I am.
I should do this for a living.
Maybe.
That's like my best friend will say sometimes. He'll say, "It's like you do it for a living."
Oh,
And I
it
go-
tastes like
and
it
I go,
smells
what,
too.
drinking?
It smells great. Tastes great.
Yeah, I like this one a whole lot.
Yeah, this one is
It's another one I would describe as dangerous. Like it goes down so easy.
Easily, very smooth.
All right. So A, B, C, D, guys. We got to put these in
Ooh.
order now of what we think is the best. So,
all right. I'm in.
all right, I'm done as well. Ian, you want to start?
Yeah. So, and I haven't even written my other ones down too, but I got it. My number 1 was that last one we just had. That cotton candy sweetness was so good.
Yep.
And there's a woody
got it.
kind of finish to it that's absolutely fantastic.
I can already tell Liliana agrees with you.
Right. The one previous that had the woody nose with agave, that's my number 2, buttery sweet cinnamon. There was a little pine bitter at the end, like you said, but that didn't distract me from what I liked up front about it.
Okay.
Then I think actually, now that I look at it, I think I'm in complete reverse order. I think B is next. That one was super
3.
sweet, but it was pleasant, even in a super sweetness.
It tastes very good. Yeah.
That was the one with the real sherry or port
Super sweet.
vibe to it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the last one, A. So complete reverse order for.
Okay. All right, Liliana, what about you? What was your favorite?
I was close to Ian on 2 of them. Number 1 was D.
Okay.
Number 2 was A.
Yeah.
Number 3 was the fruity, orangey, the very nice color, B.
B.
And the last one was C, because I didn't like the bitter
bitter turned you off on that.
aftertaste.
Okay. Very good. How about you?
I'm a carbon copy actually of Liliana on this one. I liked the finish on D. That I don't think
Is that
it
your
would
number
be,
1?
It wouldn't be my number 1 of the day, but it's my number 1 of this flight for
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to number A, or letter A. Thank you. I'm gonna get crucified over here. And then B, that viscous orangey thing, and then I'm not sure what.
So
C was
yours
going on.
were just the same as Liliana's.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. So here's mine. Making this the first unanimous round.
Wow.
For number 1, my favorite was D. The very cotton candy-ish, which we all picked as our number 1, so very interesting. My second favorite was number 2. I'm sorry, it was number 2. My second favorite, it was A, the one with was kind of sweet with the minerality. So you and I agreed on that. The place where we differ, though, is that I went with the letter C as my third, and I bumped that B all the way down. And I will tell you, that's been my least favorite of the whole day, actually, was B. That was the one that was very sherry cask or it
Too
had the
sweet?
really sweet. Yeah,
Too
it's not what what I'm
Yeah.
looking for when I go tequila.
tequila.
You know,
Yeah.
it's not that it didn't taste good. If you told me it was an Armagnac, I go, this is one of the best Armagnacs I've ever had. But in tequila
You
land,
don't expect that.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree,
So,
and I feel the
all
same
right.
way about the next one.
Terry, do we have
time?
time to reveal here in this segment? Okay, so let's reveal what these
Oh,
were.
God.
I think we got about a minute left. This was Tequila A. It was Tequila Pardita. We had this one very recently on the show. Ian.
Partida.
Partida. I'm sorry. I mispronounced. Thank you for correcting me. B, the really super sweet one was, oh, yes. I should have known about this one. This is Tequila Anejo from, I think, do we have this? Where's the name of the tequila? It's on the side? Yeah, it is... somebody help me read that. I can't read that. I remember when we had this one on the show, Ian. This one was...
Yeah, I remember that. Work on that one. Let me see if I can...
All right.
you go.
And here comes D, which we all...
It's C.
Oh, I'm sorry, C, which was Tequila Rayon. Am I saying that correct? Tequila Rayon. So that is a
if you can figure
very
it out.
interesting and not very well known one. Oh, why am I not surprised? Number one, we all loved the Skelly. This has been one, and I should have known that's what it was. This has been one of my favorite tequilas for years now, and I'm so not surprised that that's what it was. That was the only unanimous pick. All right, I know we got to go to break. When we come back, we will all reveal our top 3 favorites of the day, and now that we know what they all are, and Ian will reveal what the name of that very sherry oak cask one was. So it's Smoking
It
and
might be
Toasting.
the name right
Thanks for
here.
being patient with us while we drink
It's,
14 different tequilas. We'll be right back.
Thank you. That's very sweet.
Welcome back. It's Smoking and Toasting, and thank you so much for hanging with us through our entire blind taste test of Anejo Tequila. Guys, this was a lot of fun. 14 tequilas we did today, and now I'm going to ask you to do something virtually impossible, and that's name your 3 favorite ones. Ian, let's start with you, and you know the names of these because we revealed them, so go ahead.
So number 3, Excelia.
Really?
That one
Oh,
I
wow.
thought was pretty outstanding. It was good. The number 2, Siete Leguas.
Now, that one wound up being a reposado that got into the mix by accident, and it still performed as one of your top 3
was
of the
really,
whole
really,
day.
really good.
And you were saying that that's an older tequila, is that right? Siete Leguas?
Well, yeah, it's one of the oldies.
Yeah, it's been around for a while.
1952.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
In the Highlands.
Before
yeah.
I was born.
Yeah, and you're number one.
And
Ian.
number 1, I'm going for the goofy bottle, Skelly.
I love that bottle. But for years, I didn't buy it. I saw it, and I thought, I'm not buying that. I mean, I like it. I love the whole Day of the Dead thing, but that tequila can't be
The
good.
bottle
That-
is
that
so
has to-
corny
it
that
has
you
to be a
almost
gimmick.
don't want to like it.
Yeah, but it's so good.
good.
All right, very good. Let's. I'll do mine, and then we'll let the experts go last. My number 3 was Puro. I've got 2 in my top 3 that are in gimmick bottles. I don't know what that says about me. But my number 3 was the Puro Verde,
That beautiful
the
bottle,
organic
yeah.
añejo. Or am I confusing? No, Puro Verde was not the goofy bottle. The goofy bottle was the my second one, which was the Torero El Arte de Tequila. Right? That was the one. Will you bring that? Is that right? Because I want to just make sure I'm not. This is the Torero El Arte. Yes.
Yeah,
All right.
that's like one of the most
That's
gorgeous
my
bottles
number
ever.
2. And then the Puro Verde was my number 3. And my number 1 was the Skelly,
Skelly.
agreeing with
Oh.
Ian. So my number 1 and 2 were gimmick bottles. How about that? Shows you what I know about tequila. Mark.
Okay, so my number 3 was the Iquareta.
Oh, that was really good.
was
I
really
very
tasty.
close, became very close to putting that on my
I
list.
really enjoyed the finish on that one. I thought it was lighter, and I think that's a pattern for me because I'm just now realizing the 3 that I chose were
Were a
much
little bit lighter?
in body and in shape. Number 2, the Siete Leguas. That reposado just gets me.
That's so cool
really
that the
good.
Reposado scored that well.
I love it.
And it wasn't even supposed to be in the test. It was an accident.
No, it's a great story, and
Yeah.
they make just some beautiful tequila. Perhaps the next time we come, I'll bring you the stuff that isn't sold in the U.S.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that next week.
Yeah, you bet. And number 1 was the Excelia. I was
Excelia,
really
Wow.
surprised about that
That's
one.
awesome. Awesome. All right. Our tequila expert. I know she doesn't like me to call her that, but she is. She's just too, she's too modest to admit it.
Drum
That's
roll,
all.
please.
All right, Liliana. What was your number 3?
Number 3 was Ecuareta.
Oh.
I love that.
So,
the
yeah.
attack was not too strong. It didn't have a fruity note, but it had a wonderful, a very nice aftertaste.
And number 2.
Number 2 is going to be Excelia.
See?
I think,
you guys think alike.
even though it had a light color, but it was wonderfully fruity.
I do remember that, yeah.
And number 1, it was Skelly.
Skelly.
Wow.
How about that? So
Yeah.
I'm now not quite as embarrassed to have had 2 goofy bottles on my
Skelly made 3 out of 4 lists.
Yes, yeah, and was number 1 on 3 out of 4 lists.
Excelia made 3 out of 4 lists.
That is so cool. I got to tell you, there's not a single tequila we had today that wasn't delicious. I mean, they were all really good.
Yeah, and it's funny
and out of
'cause
14, I mean, that's pretty good.
we're comparing all these really nice tequilas, so like sounded like some negatives were going on, but,
Right.
but they're all
There's not a
I
one of
wouldn't
them.
turn any of them down.
There's not a one of them I wouldn't buy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
And they're affordable and they're accessible, and it's not like all these fancy.
right, we didn't bring. I on
Yeah.
purpose didn't bring my very favorite tequila of all time, which
Reserva
is
de la Familia.
Reserva de la Familia. On purpose, I didn't because I didn't want it to outshine everything else by that much. But it's interesting that probably my second favorite, the Skelly, was the one that seemed to do
Yeah.
the best out of everything. Guys, thank you so much. It is so fun
Oh,
having
thank you
either
for
one of you
having
here.
us.
To have both
Yeah.
of you at the
great,
same
yeah.
time has been great fun. Ian, another week, and we nobody has stepped in to stop us.
No one stopped us
what
yet.
What are you going to do? Next week,
Roll on.
one of our other favorite guests returns to the show, Docs, Gregory
Docs.
Doxakis, and he will be coming in with Robert Licorice from Iron Root because those guys
Beautiful.
have cross-pollinated the whiskey and the rum, and I'm
Right.
so excited to
Wow.
see what they've come up with. And of course, it's always fun to have Docs on the show. So thank you for joining us. Thanks to Terry, our engineer, Mary, who poured the tequila and did the booking, and thanks to Adam and the Cloud. You guys have a wonderful week, and as we like to say here on the show, cheers,
A
y'all.
quick shout out to
Salud.
Bruce Stark. We miss you.
Yes, Otto Stark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah!